Nigerian Army commends President Tinubu's support and guidance to the military. Wife of Edo State Governor Betsy Obaseki advocates quicker pardon for deserving inmates. Plus, we examine the Edo State government's urban and regional development policy. Good afternoon and welcome to Panorama, reaching you live from the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA Benin Network Center. I am Ubehi Utubu Apresai. Welcome. The Nigerian Army has commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his strategic support and guidance to the military. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuarid Lagbaja, gave the commendation in a message to the 2023 Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps Seminar on sniffing and combating complex security threats. The report.
Pressure continues to mount on security agencies to scale up efforts in containing security threats. For the Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps, being preemptive is key in tackling insecurity. This forum is meant to keep troops of the Intelligence Corps on their toes.
I wish to convey my sincere gratitude to President Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for his strategic guidance and unwavering support to the Nigerian Army. The seminar is one of the major training activities lined up for this year and is designed to enhance the intelligence corps capability to provide optimum intelligence in support of the Nigerian Army operations.
Security issues are constantly evolving, throwing up new challenges.
This seminar is designed to equip the personnel of Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps and indeed Nigerian Army officers and others with the needed skills and mindset to better address wicked problems. By wicked problems, we mean those problems that do not lend themselves to easy solutions. Oftentimes, the solutions you throw at these problems soon become problems in and of themselves. And this is especially important with the changing nature and character of threats to national security and military security in particular.
The Army authorities are optimistic that with training like this, operations will improve for a stable and secure environment. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Director General, National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Mustafa Habib Ahmed, has directed state emergency management agencies to immediately activate disaster management response team to tackle the possible flooding following the release of water from Lagdo Dam in Cameroon. Correspondent Iliasu Yakubu reports.
The Cameroonian authorities commenced the release of water from the Lagdo Dam on the 4th of October 2023. Affected communities in Adamawa, Taraba, Benue, Kogi, Niger, Nasarawa, Anambra, Bayelsa, and Imo State. DG NEMA said the agency has since deployed its search and rescue officers to the affected areas for possible evacuation.
The update from NEMA is that the agency has been alerted on the sudden increase inundation of riparian communities and farmlands along the banks of River Niger in Adamawa, Taraba, and Benue states in the past 48 hours. The sudden situation is attributed to the rapid release of waters from Lagdo Dam in the Republic of Cameroon and has resulted in the displacement of several inhabitants of the affected communities.
This is the second time Lagdo Dam in Cameroon is releasing water this year, and NEMA said it will continue making effort to ensure Nigeria is not flooded as the country is in the valley neighboring 8 African countries of Benin, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Chad, Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea, Mali, Niger, which poses great danger to Nigeria in the event of release of excess water from their dams. In Abuja, Iliasu Yakubu, NTA News.
An Army Corps of Supply and Transport, Benin City, says the Corps will be more professional in the discharge of their constitutional duties, in line with the vision of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, for a highly motivated and effective force. This was at the 2023 Nigerian Army Corps of Supply and Transport Conference in Benin City. Udwakobong Achibong reports.
From time to time, various corps of the Nigerian Army have occasions to evaluate their responsibilities and determine how to better position themselves to effectively discharge their duties. This informs the Corps of Supply and Transport Maiden Conference under the leadership of the Commander, Major General Adetunji Adeyinka. The Chief of Logistics Nigerian Army, Major General Erema Akerejola, reiterated the philosophy of the Chief of Army Staff, whom he represented at the event, and emphasized the need for the participants to seize the opportunity for optimal results.
We as a corps will be focusing on about 4 areas. We will be ensuring that we act in a sustainable manner. We will do everything we can do to build up our skill. We will also ensure that we are proactive in what we do.
It is expected that at the end of the conference, all the officers and men of the Corps of Supply and Transport would understand how best to play their roles. It also allows the Corps Commander, Supply and Transport, espouse his own philosophy in line with the philosophy of the Chief of Army Staff.
It is expected that the outcome of the deliberations will evolve a highly skilled and proactive S&T Corps. In Benin, Udwakobong Achibong, NTA News.
Wife of Edo State Governor Betsy Obaseki says granting of amnesties and freedom by government to deserving prison inmates will go a long way in decongesting correctional centers across the country. Mr. Obaseki stated this during her visit to Oko Correctional Center, where she was represented by the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Media and Publicity, Peter Okokwo. Good luck, Enaini reports.
First Lady of the State, our mother, and the closest person to our father, His Excellency, the Edo State Governor, to impress on appropriate authorities for the release and pardon of inmates that have shown and demonstrated true, genuine repentance.
It is a correctional center, and by implication, people kept here ought to undergo reformation to be useful to the society. In her usual gesture of compassion and dedication to criminal justice reform, Mrs. Obaseki is making her 4th visit to the medium security custodian center in Oko, Benin City.
If you know that if you're good conduct and something can be done to reduce your sentence or even grant you amnesty, then you find yourself doing and improving yourself as quickly as possible.
The controller of the prisons sees the visit as a demonstration of state government's commitment to their well-being.
I want you to shun all vices that are inimical to the reformation, rehabilitation, and reintegrating you into the society.
The governor has been of help to me. He told me that he promised that those people that did not run and those people that returned is going to do something for them.
Mrs. Obaseki, who was presented with various handcrafts produced by some inmates, commended their ingenuity. In Benin, good luck in NTA News.
Still on security matters, His Royal Majesty Ewa II, CFR, Oba of Benin, has tasked the Nigerian Immigration Service on effective policing of porous Nigerian borders and improved capacity to deal with security threats. Oba Ewa II gave the advice when the Controller, Nigerian Immigration Service, Edo State Command, Uba Waziri, led his management team to the palace in Benin City. Eugenia Ndubisi completes that report.
The Benin monarch also charged the leadership of both the Nigerian military to prioritize the welfare of their personnel as a critical building block to succeed in battlefield. He also pledged the palace support for management of the service to discharge its duties.
The federal government should look after them, provide the facilities, the equipment, the training, and the welfare for our immigration officers.
Earlier, the Controller Nigerian Immigration Service, Edo State Command, Oba Waziri, said he came to pay respect to the Oba of Benin as tradition demands.
It's a rare privilege which I cherish. Your Royal Majesty, I'm here first to pay homage, to pay my respect as tradition demands, and also to request your prayers and guidance, so that my stay in your domain will be peaceful and progressive.
In Benin, Eugenia Ndubisi, NTA News.
It's now time for a break. When we return, Panorama continues, so please stay with us.
Council of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
For staying with us. Over the years, urban planning as a tool to improve the health and well-being of people remains a critical concern for achieving an acceptable sustainability standard in Edo State. Governor Godwin Obaseki is refocusing attention on the standard framework for the administration of urban and regional planning for development. Goodluck Enaini has details.
Urban Renewal is one of the key development trusts of the Obaseki-led administration, meant to transform lives. The state government's initiative to build sustainable cities through its development and master plans is to engender rural-urban linkages with a view to restoring rural settlements, making them more suitable for living in order to stem rapid urban migration. To succeed in this venture, the state government proscribed the Community Development Associations, CDAs, whose activities hampered opportunities for investors to secure landed property. Similarly, under Project Clean Up Edo initiative, building structures with unapproved plans and makeshift were demolished, just as the state government considered a series of campaigns and symposiums to sensitize the public.
The governor is towing the right path by putting more emphasis on planning. It should not just be us throwing money at problems, but do we have a plan, a strategic plan that is also holistic?
Reduction in the cost of acquiring CFO from 300,000 to 50,000 naira by the state government is another impetus for prospective developers.
300,000 naira to 50,000 naira, so it's good. Just use it to help us so that who don't have, it can afford.
While the state government, in partnership with private developers, opened up new cities, starting with the construction of 1,800 standard and affordable housing units at Emota Garden City Estate in Upper Sapomba in Abuja local government area. Kora City is also being developed to reposition the state for investment destination with key infrastructural facilities like the Osiomo Power and the fiber optics connection.
We will legislate the master plan so that when people do things that are contrary to the master plan, it can be justiciable. That means they can be taken to court.
The vision is getting clearer as the governor is resolute in redefining and providing a standard framework for the administration of urban and regional planning, urban development, urban renewal, and building control activities in the state. In Benin, Goodluck Inaeni, NTA News.
With me live in the studio is the Commissioner for Physical Planning, Housing, Urban and Regional Development, Isoke Omo, to discuss more on the state government's Urban and Regional Development Initiative. Ma, you're welcome to Panorama.
Thank you very much.
And so many cities in Nigeria appear to be experiencing some urbanization challenges. What's your take on this?
As you are aware, people move to get better life. They aspire. And now, because the world has become a global village, people all over the world compare. So they see things everywhere and they want these things. And most of the times, these services are provided in the urban areas. Statistics have said that on the world landmass, 2% of it is urban. But these 2% consume over 85% of the infrastructural resources. So you can understand why everybody wants to come to the urban area. Because that is where you will see good roads, telecommunication, water, power, drainage. So there is that pressure on urban areas. And the consequence of that leads to slums and sprawls. So that is why also governments put a lot of emphasis on making the urban areas to meet the needs of the people. But the whole essence now is to try and reduce that pressure by also making rural areas, conducive for people to live and thrive. And that will now reduce the migration that causes the levels of urbanizations we're seeing right now.
And so many believe that urban planning is an interdisciplinary field, which involves stakeholders for it to work. So how do you think efficient legal framework can help, in this regard?
Okay, like you said, for us to be in the urban area, we are there because we want to excel in anything that we do, whether it is working, living, or playing. And so that is not just a one-faceted thing. Planning goes across all infrastructure ecosystem. So you cannot just plan the land, because remember, the land is finite. It's not expanding, it's not increasing. So if you don't efficiently plan it, there will be an issue with it because it's a scarce resource as it is. So you will need everybody within that ecosystem to participate. For example, if I want to put a school down, the school on its own would be supported. There are people that are coming to use that school. The parents from that school will use the markets, they will use the leisure center, they will use every other service. So if I want to put the school, I must take into consideration what is in that community. What are the other things that need to be put there for the school to work effectively. So therefore, you would need to engage everybody within that ecosystem. And here in Edo State, we're doing that. We don't work in silos, because when you work in silos, you find out that you are not able to provide the service as the people will need them. So most of the time, you do the service and you find out, oh, I didn't think about this aspect, or this aspect has been ignored. So you cannot do a school without thinking about where the wastewater is going to go to, how the people are going to get access, what is the transport network. So what is the health? Should I need to take a child for emergency service? How do I get there? So all those things are all intertwined. So it is necessary that there is a continuous collaboration. So planning does not just end within Ministry of Physical Planning. Everybody who needs to be on ground to make our people have value in their physical environment are all engaged. So both roads and bridges, water, power, health, education, agri, even the food, getting the food from farm to table. It is very, very important. Tourism, because also you're still going to have some kind of leisure. Security, how are the people going to be served? So all this are key. And so now in planning, you do not just sit and plan. You must get everybody's input and understand what is required. And for doing that, you need data. So you need to collect data, put all that together to make sure that the plan is fit. And once you plan, that is the first step. You will start to implement. In implementation, you might have to come back and revisit the plans as the details come out. So for that, we have master plans that we're using.
Okay, so before we get to the master plan, urban-rural linkages, how do we engender it? What's the government doing, to engender this linkage between the urban and the rural area?
Okay, I cannot talk about it without talking about the master plan. Because master plans we're doing now, we have the Benin City master plan and the Edo State Regional Development Plan. Okay. And people say, why are we doing the two? Benin City, which is the only city we have in Edo State right now, accommodates over 50% of our population. At the moment, it is over 5 local governments with over 2.5 million people. So if we're planning Benin City and we do not make sure that the regions are also planned and we give the regions a comparative advantage to stay, then obviously we'll be talking about 3-4 million people in a couple of years. So what we need to do is also, as we're planning the city, we are also looking at the rural areas. What are their comparative advantages? What do we have in Oriomo? Like now we're doing the Edo State Oil Palm project. It is in Oriomo because that is where we have the largest number of palm and the land is fertile. We're able to bring people there. So if you are there, you don't need to come to Benin City anymore. You would have reason to stay in your place. You'll be able to thrive there. Whether it is Edo South, Edo North, Edo Central. So what we're doing is also taking the planning to the regional areas, to the rural areas, so that people in that area know exactly what is coming to them. If your area is agri, that is your advantage, we want to bring agri businesses there. If it is solid minerals, we want to bring solid minerals there. So that way you are able to stay in your place, you're able to thrive. If you come to Benin, you come to Benin. Yes,
the urban
and then
areas.
with that, we're able to regenerate the city itself. So is why.
So let's go to the issue of this master plan. Now, we've seen that some buildings had to go, some illegal structures had to go. What are the plans for compensation?
Okay. For you to be entitled to compensation, you must have a title. You must have certificate of occupancy. That is a right to be there. Okay? Or you have an ancestral home. In most places, have you seen in Benin, before the proscription of the CDA, the land was everybody's oil. And they were ready to die for it. So communities sold government lands illegally. And if you go and buy from the community illegally, with what are you going to be compensated? Because there are rules and there are laws to this thing.
So
those people who have titles,
they will be
compensated.
So now your recommendation, for effective and efficient urban and regional development initiative in Nigeria, just give us a brief, what's your recommendation in a few words, please?
Recommendation, first of all, is data first. Then collaboration. Then people need to make sure that they work with government to understand what is coming to their area. If you need to build or develop, get approval. Do what is right. Because this is what we have. And if we don't do it well, we are all, you can see people traveling and living all the time now. So if we don't do things well, what do we have for our future? So we have to sit down, get it right, plan and do things right.
Thank you very much. We've been talking with Isoke Omo, the Commissioner for Fiscal Planning, Housing, Urban and Regional Development here in Edo State. Many thanks, Ma, for joining us today on Panorama.
Thank you for having me.
And now, up next is Trending Sports Stories with Bade Adeleye.
Bendel Insurance recorded a 2-0 victory over Shooting Stars of Ibadan in the matchday 2 encounter of the Nigeria Premier Football League played Saturday at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium, Benin City. Galifaka gave Insurance the lead when he diverted the ball into his own net before Yebi Evans sealed the win for the Benin Arsenal in the 70th minute. In other results, Kano Pillars secured a 1-0 win over Katsina United at the Sani Abacha Stadium, while Bayelsa United lost 2-0 to Doma United. Action continues Sunday with Gombe United welcoming defending champions Enyimba International to the Pantami Stadium. Niger Tornadoes will square off with Rivers United, while Plateau United and Heartland will face off with Aqua United and newcomers Sporting Lagos trading tackles. In the meantime, Team FCT once again showed their sporting prowess as they emerged overall winners of the 3-day Japanese Ambassadors Karate Open Championship on Saturday at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. They won a total of 13 medals, made up of 5 gold, 3 silver and 5 bronze medals, while Strata Base came second with 5 gold, 3 silver and 1 bronze, while Team Federal Fire Service placed third with 2 gold, 3 silver and 2 bronze medals.
My coach Bobby and my teammates, they overrated me. If I should lose, I won't be happy at all.
Right now, I see some things that I missed in the past, so I have to incorporate it into my game so I can do well.
So let us bring the spirit of karate, discipline, respect, and continuous growth to our daily endeavors and say yes to life.
208 participants drawn from 15 states of the Federation and the FCT, including the paramilitary, as well as some agencies featured in the tournament. And finally to tennis, second-ranked Iga Swiatek ended Coco Gauff's 16-match winning streak as she advanced to the China Open final with a dominant 6-6-3 victory over the US Open champion on Saturday. It was the 19-year-old Gauff's first loss since the quarterfinals in Montreal, a span that included titles in Cincinnati and at Flushing Meadows. Swiatek will now meet number 22 ranked Lyudmila Samsonova in Sunday's final after the Russian ousted 5th seeded Elena Rybakina 7-6, 6-3. With sports update, Bade Adeleye, NTA News.
On Panorama today, it reached you live from the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA Benin Network Center. Do stay with the NTA for more of our programs. Good afternoon.